Alright then, let's go. So, Gran Turismo 1. This is part of a series that I've been doing for a while on the channel, which was my GT Rewind stuff. But getting the videos out was just a complete pain. So, I've decided that stream by stream, I'm just going to play through all the older GT titles up to Gran Turismo 7 and such. So, hopefully along the way we can get some of the kind of cool content on the channel from some of the older games. And it's really just a celebration of kind of the good old days of Gran Turismo. I think we all kind of know the current state of the series. I'm obviously not going to comment too much on that, but yeah, basically we're just going to play through each of the titles one by one, and hopefully just have a good time with it along the way. So we're going to start a fresh playthrough here of the original Gran Turismo on the North American release variant. So let's get to it then. We'll head over to simulation mode, get some licenses done, and just kind of see how far we get over the evening. So let's begin then. We'll go straight to the license center. We'll go ahead and get B. In terms of the audio, if you want kind of the gameplay audio boosting or the microphone audio boosting, just let me know in the comment section. I can keep an eye on everything, and that way we can get a nice little balance as well. So yeah, let's begin then with the first license test that was ever put into a Gran Turismo game. I think we all know it, the starting and stopping in a Mazda Demio. I'm probably going to be incredibly rusty at this, so I do apologise. I forgot just how slow these cars can feel in the early game. Farming credits at Daytona. Oh, I haven't credit farmed on Gran Turismo in a long time. I should really get back to it. So just a word of warning, I was never good at these starting and stopping ones. It was horrific for me. I always get this absolutely wrong, so we're probably going to fail this one here. Managed to get past. If you can only see the menu screen, try and refresh it. Yeah, let me just double check that. So that's good. We've got a nice little freeze as I've gone into the simulation mode. So 1 second, let me just see if I can refix that. Right, so I'm just going to go and reset the game. I'll put a intermission screen on and we'll get straight back to it. It just appears that the obviously the software just kind of froze up as I've gone in there. So I will be back in a couple of minutes. Alright, so let's see if that sorts the issue. Hopefully this should all be moving on screen now, and hopefully when I get into simulation it's not just going to freeze itself up again. So let's just give it a test. If it does, that's probably just going to be an issue. So let's see what it does here. Should hopefully unfreeze itself and take us into the home menu. And yeah, so just checking everything, that's because there's a bit of delay on the stream on my end, so hopefully that should all move about now. Yeah, okay, so seems it's working. Hopefully it doesn't freeze up again. Bit of a pain, apologies for that one. So we did the first starting and stopping test. I'll just quickly redo that again. If obviously the game does keep freezing up, it's just kind of the issue that comes along with trying to get modern streaming software and kind of older games running. It's a bit of a nightmare. Usually it's a lot easier with newer stuff. So hopefully we can actually get going now. So again, if the audio just needs balancing, just let me know, and I'll obviously either turn the game volume up, down, mic up, down. Just you guys let me know. But let's get started then, going for hopefully the last time for a starting and stopping. So yeah, it's just you know, kind of trying to get that older stuff you know, up and running. Never the easiest. Obviously we are doing it through emulation. I would say it's probably just the better way to play these days when it comes to really a lot of the older titles and such, especially with, you know, Gran Turismo games. I just find it difficult to sort of go back to kind of PlayStation 1 or you know, PlayStation 2 and such. So we got bronze that time, so we did worse the second time, but obviously we do keep our silver medal, which is thankfully okay. Again, if you guys just keep me updated in the comments when it comes to sort of the audio quality and stuff, if you want me to kind of balance it out a bit more, I am more than happy to do so. So obviously here we have the exact same of what we've just done, just in a much more powerful car. Maybe not so by today's standard, but Mitsubishi GTO, a pretty nostalgic car, I must admit. So I always have such good memories of this game, but then some of the other kind of license tests I just won't remember so much. It's a really strange. We've overshot that by a mile. So we'll just try again. So yeah, it's just kind of weird for me when it comes to, especially Gran Turismo 1. I don't have as fond memories of it as I do, you know, especially Gran Turismo 2. For me, that was kind of my real starting point, and I just played so much of that game. I actually played Gran Turismo 1 after I played Gran Turismo 2, and I just feel because of that I don't have as many vivid memories of it as a lot of people do. But I do really appreciate this game. I think the series honestly got better from here, but as far as a starting point, oh man, these brakes. As far as a starting point for a series, it was just such a good game. Yeah, if you watch the top 10 video I did earlier, just it's pretty ridiculous, you know, how this series, to think back in what, 1997, had like something like 180 official cars, and yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. Obviously we know it hit the crazy numbers of over 1,000 cars in like Gran Turismo 6 and stuff, but yeah, just for what this game really did, it's just pretty great. Oh, I knew we'd overshoot that one again. These have always been just a thorn in my side. I have never been a fan of starting and stopping. The fact that it's the kind of first thing you do in pretty much every Gran Turismo title just kind of boils my blood. I've never ever got along with these. Okay, so we need to stop really early in this car because it's surprisingly heavy, and that's probably going to be... Oh no, we have actually managed to stop. It is such a weird feeling in that car. So you think the brakes are better than they actually are, and then you're forgetting that this game does actually have physics, which is just strange for a PlayStation 1 game. Yeah, the gearing down thing, it's just a force of habit. I mean, when I originally launched my whole Gran Turismo Rewind series, and I went through and I started in second gear there for some reason. Let's just quickly try that one again. Right, put it into first. I went through and got all the gold medals on Gran Turismo 1. It was just something I've never done before in terms of their licenses, and it was horrific. Those international A licenses were just so bad to do. So because obviously I'm playing this on a PlayStation 5 controller, it does feel a bit strange, and I've had to turn the sensitivity down. So one thing I'm going to have to get used to here is the cars. They were a bit too twitchy through the emulator on default settings. They'd kind of just spin out way too easy. So I'm hoping they're not going to be kind of too... Okay, we passed it, that'll do. So I'm hoping the cars aren't going to be too kind of heavy and bulky with the lower sensitivity. But again, like the default through the emulator was... It was bad. It was... It felt nothing like Gran Turismo 1 really should. Yeah, I mean, getting all golds in the older games, it's just... It's something to be proud of, that's for sure. They were just never easy. I feel like... I'd probably say from Gran Turismo 6, Sport and 7... Okay, we really messed that one up. They just got a lot easier. I don't know if that's because the physics improved with the game or they just felt better overall. But yeah, these early tests, like... I'd say the ones that I really struggled with was mainly 1, 2, 3, just mainly 1, 2, and 3. I don't think 4 was too bad. Still difficult in kind of periods with it, but 1, 2, and 3 just had some really ridiculous kind of license tests. I think with number 4, if I remember, the missions were probably the hardest part of that game, and I think I remember one around the Nordschleife. That one was just notoriously difficult, and I think Gran Turismo 3 with the Toyota GT1, that was one that stands out. I think the one that stands out from Gran Turismo 1 for me is Special Stage Route 11. Okay, that felt really weird. Special Stage Route 11, the one lap around there for International A, I think must have took me about 2.5 hours, just constant when I was recording the original video. Yeah, it's they're always very good looking games. Obviously, I've got this running much smoother than it really ever did. But I mean, the fact that such a big game could run on a PlayStation 1 was just mind blowing. It still blows my mind to this day. Because I'm pretty sure, I think I've still got my original copy of Gran Turismo 1 somewhere. And I think it was 1 disc for Gran Turismo 1 and then 2 for Gran Turismo 2. But that was like a much bigger game overall. And I'd say graphically it really did kind of step up. Even if they did kind of overdo the reflections on the cars in Gran Turismo 2. That was something that I'll always remember, is just the kind of glare. The glare on Gran Turismo 2 was just pretty ridiculous looking, but hey, it kind of just gave it that charm. Yeah, there was, I mean, from what I remember, Gran Turismo 1 had the arcade mode, but it was still on the same, 1 disc, whereas obviously Gran Turismo 2 did have the 2 discs, the arcade and simulation. But it kind of makes sense. That game is huge, even compared to the original. Like I said, that's probably why Gran Turismo 2 still to this day is my favourite of the titles, followed by probably 4. 5 was a good one for me as well. Yeah, definitely a rare occurrence. I did say once I'd kind of moved into my new place and got a bit settled that I would be doing a lot more live streams. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm aiming to do. Just live stream a bit more. But it's just been a long process. Like this last month on YouTube's just been kind of few and far between. It's been difficult trying to get everything sorted and then get back into making content and stuff like that. So it does feel nice to be able to stream. I think it's been, I want to say, 18 months since I've last done any kind of live streaming. But I'm hoping to do maybe 1, 2, even 3 a week, and kind of make a thing of it. Because I do enjoy it. I mean, the trouble is when you upload videos, you know, it's difficult to kind of really, you know, see kind of your regular viewers in there in a flood of comments and such. So I feel like streaming for that sake is kind of much better on a personal level for kind of regular viewers, you know, to interact with me and stuff like that, because obviously I'm not going to get to see every single comment when it comes to, you know, video comment sections. It does kind of get lost a bit in there. So just keep it in 4th gear through there, and that'll give us a nice clean lap. I mean, the cars feel a little bit heavy. I feel like I could maybe bump the sensitivity up a little bit more, but it's definitely better than it was on default. So we've got gold for that one. So I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that. I don't think I'm going to go back and get every single gold tonight, because I will probably be here till like 3 o'clock in the morning and more than likely just fall asleep at my desk. So we'll take it. We've got a B license now. I'm going to go through all the licenses first, get them out the way, and then yeah, we can kind of dive into the game then. One thing I did notice with Gran Turismo 1, yeah, the sounds of the game, yeah. One thing I did notice with Gran Turismo 1 compared to even 2 onwards is just kind of the lack of content for it is pretty ridiculous. Like there's a lot there for a game on a PlayStation 1, but it's a lot less than really any of the other titles. I mean, even in comparison to Gran Turismo 3, which is, I'd say, one of the smaller games in terms of its, you know, lineup of cars and such. Yeah, it's got a lot less to it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I do feel like with Gran Turismo 1 it was a bit more kind of quality over quantity sort of deal. Yeah, the suspension tuning. I'd say the tuning in general on the older games was much more difficult, because the physics just they were good. They were good, especially at the time. I mean, it's pretty crazy, the physics, but going back, you can sort of make a difference to the car, but you don't always know exactly what the physics are going to do, sort of thing. This high-speed ring is epic. Yeah, I agree with that. It's probably my favourite, you know, the one from the early Gran Turismo games. Don't get me wrong, the new one is, you know, brimming with a lot more personality, but I do feel like it kind of lost that soul that it kind of had back in the day. And it's the same with Grand Valley. Going back to Grand Valley is definitely a strange one for me. I was never really a huge fan of Grand Valley Highway 1 when that got put into Gran Turismo 7. It was really good for VR, but as a racetrack, I feel like it kind of took a lot away from sort of, you know, speedway in terms of what it was trying to, you know, represent. So 2 silvers, that's not too bad. Yeah, I do stream every now and again. Every now and again. Probably going to be a lot more regular, so. Yeah, the gear ratios, it was always funny because playing these games so young, I had no idea about the tuning menus, like especially the first few times I played through these games. So I'd like throw a load of upgrades on a car and then it'd just absolutely rocket off the line, and I'd be topping out at like 120 miles per hour and just wondering, you know, what was going wrong. And it did take me, you know, a good few months to realise, oh, there's a menu here where I can actually tune the car. That's going to slip. Oh, this was always a notorious one. So here we go. I would say this license test right here, what is it, the third one? Grand Valley on that turn 1 in this RX-7 was horrible. Again, when it came to doing my original GT Rewind and getting all of these golds, this was another one that probably took me 45 minutes straight of just getting to turn 1, hitting that bump, spinning the car out, failing it, rinse and repeat. Or I'd be a lot more cautious and then be way off my time. It is a really annoying one. Because you'll kind of see it. So you head left and there's sort of a bump, and as you hit the brakes it's difficult to get the car to, so there we go, it sort of drifts it off to the left. We've managed to catch it there, but probably lost way too much speed. But again, I would say this is the first really tricky license test of the game. We've got a pass there and we've got a silver, so I am just happy with that. I am not wanting to stay on that one for too long. Number 4, if I remember, this is a Honda, one of the preludes, if I remember rightly, and it's a pretty easy gold. Or that might be a little bit later on. Okay, no, this is the one with the R33. I think this is the one that they put in pretty much every Gran Turismo game, where you kind of do that sort of first to second sector of Trial Mountain. So you'll go through the tunnel, go through the twisty back section, and then back into the long straight tunnel. And then obviously this is one, it was even in Gran Turismo 7 if I remember. I think they did it with an R32 in that one. It was in Gran Turismo 3. I don't know if it was in GT2, but this is a very, very popular one that they just kind of throw in every game. So, not bad. I'm hoping that's a pass. I'm pretty sure it's got a really tricky, even bronze time, so we have passed that. Yeah, bronze, just. So... yeah, another tricky one. So they're definitely bumping up in difficulty. 1 hour to get gold on a GT7 Super license. Yeah, it's I'm really impatient. Okay, so here's the Honda Prelude. I'm one of those that I lack patience really bad, and if I'm stuck on something, I just feel like I'm wasting my time. And that's where I get kind of frustrated with stuff. And then I just think, yeah, well, I'll go and do something else then. Yeah, I like to be kind of just speeding through things a lot of the time. Oh, should have dropped it to second there. But we've kept it. I think this is one of the Hondas that has a different horsepower output depending on your region as well. I'm pretty sure some of the cars were different on their horsepower depending on the region, even if it was the same model. Because obviously, one thing with Gran Turismo, if you click up in the name menu, go straight to okay, this one I remember. So we're just going to be driving in circles in the Impreza here. I'm pretty sure it's one of the ones where you can sort of tap the barrier. I mean, I'm hopefully not going to, but it's really annoying because you don't get to see much on the left-hand side where you're actually turning. So, okay, there we go. We bumped it. That was our first bump. I can't remember how many laps is it. 5, 6, 7, 20. Okay, the four-wheel drive handling in this game is still really good. Okay, there we go. We are done, and that is going to be a gold. Yeah, that's one of the easier gold ones. I knew one of those was coming up. And then we've got, okay, 6 failed. Fair enough, for some reason. Let's skip that one. Fairs. We'll go back. Ah, the MR2. Okay, this one's at Deep Forest, through the forest section. I mean, obviously it looks... I mean, the layout's similar, but it looks so different now. Well, sorry, in the older games compared to now, that it feels like an almost entirely different track. So obviously you've got a lot of tree coverage that sort of gives you blind corners. And then obviously you've got the little tunnel section, and then the long right-hander straight through another tunnel, and then left, and then across the line there. So that's where you'd have the kind of right-left, and it goes downhill to the bridge. It looks a lot different on Gran Turismo 7 now. I mean, that's another thing that I've not massively agreed with, is the complete overhaul of a lot of the tracks over the years. Some of them, I would say, have improved. But definitely when it comes to... my chair's going to squeak in a second. I knew that was going to happen. But definitely when it comes to, you know, some of the older layouts, I would say they did them better then than when they redid them. Trial Martin, for example, I really don't like how they finish that track off now. Obviously, you've got the downhill section, but then you've got the left-right, and it's incredibly slow, whereas obviously for the longest time you'd have the left-right, but it was basically the place where you popped on two wheels, or, you know, ended up making your car jump. So yeah, it's a weird one going back and seeing the tracks how they were, and obviously seeing tracks that haven't returned. I think for me, Apricot, is it Apricot Hill? Gran Turismo 2, I think that one arrived. That was a track that had its map on the Gran Turismo 7 trailer, and it's still not turned up. I mean, it's been over 3 years. That's running wide. I knew that was going to happen. So let's give it another shot. Yeah, the draw distance on this game, definitely not that good. Yeah, I mean, Grand Valley, I don't hate it in Gran Turismo 7. For me, it's a VR track. Like, if I want to go host a lobby with friends and just chill out, cruise, bit of VR, then it's a pretty great track. But in terms of a racing track, they just kind of closed it up. I mean, obviously, this is Grand Valley Speedway. A lot more open, much better for racing. I think just because the time that track got released, obviously alongside PSVR 2, I feel like that was kind of the main reason for that track releasing at that time. Is in that, you know, it looked great. You can kind of look out, and you've got the ocean and all that kind of stuff. It looks pretty cool. But there we go then. A license complete. So exit again, going to do International A. Yeah, it feels like a different track. See, at first, I actually thought it was, and then I remember people were overlaying the track map from Speedway to Highway 1, and it is pretty much the same. It is just the exact same layout and everything, but because it looks so different and it's kind of set up so different, it does feel like an entirely different thing. And I feel like if Polyphony didn't go ahead and put the Grand Valley tag on that track and released it as something completely different, or just called it Highway 1, then people would have probably not even noticed that it was based on Grand Valley Speedway. And I think that's where a lot of people get their issue from. But I fully agree with that. I mean, just as a racing track with, you know, upwards of 16, 20 cars on it, it's not that good in terms of actually a place to race. So we're on International A now. Obviously, these are one lap attacks on 8 different tracks. Some of these are incredibly difficult. It will start us off at high speed ring, so it's a lot nicer than it could be a little bit later on. There's only 2 cars used through these tests, that being the Griffith that you're seeing here now and the Dodge Viper. So you use one, then the other, and obviously until you're done. The worst one for me, Route 11. I am not looking forward to that. Grand Valley as well is hit and miss. I'm pretty sure you actually end up doing it in reverse, or I might be wrong with that. I'm possibly wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure the final test is Grand Valley in reverse. So there we go, we've passed that one. I am not really too bothered what it gives me. It's silver, I'll settle for it. I'll take it. I don't know why I'm just in the habit of scrolling down, not just flicking up. Should you get Drive Club? Yes, absolutely. It's a great game. Obviously, it's a shame there's no servers or the DLC's been taken down, but I'd say still to this day, Drive Club holds up so well. The rain effects in that game are just incredible. The sound's probably one of the weaker points, I'd say. A lot of people really like the sound in Drive Club, but for me, I'd say it's just a bit muffled. But in terms of how cheap you can probably get a physical version of that game now, absolutely, you should get it. You'll probably have a great time with it. I mean, I went back to do the kind of 10-year retrospective on it towards the end of last year, and I just love my time with it. And over the years, I've always kind of gone back to it. So we are here with the Dodge Viper now. I would say this is probably, I want to say a bit easier to drive. I'm probably going to say that and then spin it there. I'd say the Dodge Viper is easier than the TVR just because it feels less twitchy at the rear. That doesn't mean it's not twitchy, but it feels less skittish. And I'm probably assuming because it weighs more. I'm probably wrong at that, but you can really kind of feel the weight, and I'd say it probably helps, especially in the lower speed corners. So we are going to cross the line. Not much we can really do once we exit that final corner. It's a pass. It's a bronze, but I do not care. I will go and clean them up at some point on another stream. I always forget that it automatically puts you on the next one. So nearly missed that one then. Good evening. So back in the TVR then. I didn't really check the track, but I'm assuming this is Grand Valley from what I can see, yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we run it twice. Okay, here we go, turn one. That bump is probably going to throw me off, so let's try and get the braking done in a straight line. See, I didn't want to slam the brakes on too hard there, so I end up a little bit deep through there. See, playing this game way back when, and the Griffith being, you know, one of the cars really made me want one of these things. And every time I see one, which is not very often, but every time I've just kind of seen one, it just reminds me of Gran Turismo, and I still really want one of these, still to this day. So, you know, good marketing by TVR. But I just think it's a really cool car. There's just something about the kind of rear lights that just look kind of sleepy about it, but in a really good way. It's got sleepy rear lights. That's going to go wide. Just saved it. Yeah, it definitely feels a lot more light than the Viper. Oh, okay, we got away with that. Getting bogged down a little bit on the grass there. One more corner to go. Rear end kicking out a little bit. Lost a bit of momentum there. But I'm not too bothered as long as I get it done. Hopefully that's a pass. Just, okay, yeah, there we go. Bronze again. To be expected. Okay, number 4. I've got feeling Deep Forest, maybe Trial Mountain. I'm going to say Trial Mountain, Dodge Viper. Am I right? Okay, deep forest in the Dodge Viper. Close enough. So I've noticed every time I click X to press manual transmission, it bumps me into second gear. That's really annoying. So here we go. Yeah, I mean, TVRs, they're incredibly cool cars. I feel like they've always looked so incredibly weird that you just can't miss them. Okay, really backing off there because I felt like I'd invalidated and failed then. Luckily, I got away with it. So, obviously, deep forest, this would be where the bridge section is. I cannot remember if it's here on this one. No. You'd have your goats fighting. That's going to go straight into the barrier. Got away with it again. And then obviously you have your huge tunnel run. It's definitely a lot less tunnel this time around. A lot more broken up. And then obviously you'd have your section where it basically goes straight on. And then you'd have your hairpin. I mean, for me, I don't mind the Deep Forest remake too much. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of the hairpin. I think it just leads to dirty driving. But I feel like this track would just be too short. Kind of the original variant. I feel like they just kind of extended that bit after the kind of tunnel and was like, yeah, okay, that's good enough. It makes the lap a bit longer. But I mean, even in GT3 cars, you'd probably be talking maybe what, minute 5, minute 10 for a lap if they didn't kind of redo that. Autumn Ring. See, this is another track that I wish would just come back. I have a lot of nostalgia, especially for Autumn Ring Mini, because it's just one of the main key starting tracks on a lot of the older Gran Turismo titles. You could guarantee if you loaded up Gran Turismo 1, 4 as well, you'd see Autumn Ring Mini in some way, shape or form. Obviously we're on that section now. So let's get into this tricky little right-hander. The car's going to spin. Have we got away with that? No. That's what I mean with the TVR. It's such a sketchy little car when it breaks away. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I prefer it without the hairpin, but I just feel like Deep Forest would just be too short these days. Like, I'm not sure what a lap time is in one of the race cars on this game around there. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head, but it's probably a really short lap. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way these days. I'm not a huge fan of remade tracks, and if you kind of look at Polyphony's track record with their, I guess, more recent original tracks, they're just not very good. Like, you know, that's not to say they don't put a lot of effort and detail into them, of course they do, but in terms of how high they rank on most people's lists, I would really say a lot of the kind of GT Sport, you know, GT7 original tracks are just not that good compared to the older ones. And even when they've kind of remade them once or twice before, it still doesn't even get remotely close to that. What is it, St. Croix? I'm not a huge fan of that track. For me, it just feels like a cheap Le Mans. The other one, the French one as well, I'm not a big fan of that one. Okay, they're both French. Alsace, something like that. That to me is just such a bad racetrack. Great to look at. Scenery is amazing. Yeah, I know. I keep forgetting to do that. It's just a force of habit. Once I've started doing something, it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing that every time. Okay, trial mounting in the Dodge Viper. This is going to be incredibly sketchy because these curbs are massive in this earlier game. So already getting a little bit out of shape there. Doesn't matter, we've managed to keep it. Before I started the stream, I was tempted to sit and go for the golds, and then I thought, yeah, no, I'll be there for like 9 hours straight, and it'd just be a stream of me doing license tests. See, I'm not sure if you can turn the assists off for the license tests either. I'm pretty sure you can with tuning parts, if I remember. Because that's a weird thing, the car slides out and then doesn't want to slide. It tries to just catch itself constantly. Okay, we're coming up to that really notorious bit. I'm probably going to absolutely smack the inside of the right-hander in a minute. Okay, no, we survived. That was not too bad. Lost a bit of momentum on the landing there. But we did get a bit of air. Bronze again, but it's a pass, so... Okay, 2 more to go. And I've got a feeling this is the worst one, if I remember rightly. Yes, probably the worst license test I've ever done. I hate this thing. Not a fan of it. And it is a really confusing layout as well, because the draw distance in Gran Turismo 1 is so bad and it's difficult to remember it. It just becomes a nightmare. And I think that was my issue, was just trying to remember it. Because there's not even kind of a modern reference to this track, so you can't reference it in your head and think, oh well, you know, there's a right-hander coming up or anything like that. It's just really kind of maze-like. There's a lot of kind of, like you've just seen there, right, lefts and such, and then you've got, you know, kind of longer right-handers, and then you've got the, I think it's the chicane bit. Oh, the car really trying to get away there. You've got the chicane bit in a minute. That is kind of under an underpass, if I remember rightly. Hate that bit. You can go really quick through there, but I'm probably going to just be cautious. Try not to go down a gear too early there, because I would have absolutely spun this car around. So here we go. I hate this section. We're through though. That'll do. As long as I get a bronze and I can get out of this track, then we're all good. I think again we've got another right-left section here. A little bit of contact with the wall there. Into another left. I think you've got a tunnel coming up in a minute, if I'm right about that one. It goes right. I think it goes uphill, into downhill, into a tunnel. Yeah, there we go. So into the tunnel in the right-hander. Again, another really tight right-hander. The car trying to get away there. Into the left. And then we've got another bunch of left-rights in a few minutes. I say minutes, few seconds. But this track just feels like it goes on forever. And it's just maze-like. So here we go. Almost done with the lap. I will be surprised if I even get a pass for that. That was such a scruffy lap. You love this track, really? Oh, no, I'm just not a fan of it. It's... Yeah, okay, that's a pass. Nice. I think because of spending so long on it at the beginning of last year that I just got fed up with it. You've just realised that GT7 is the first one to be on 2 different... Yeah, it was always kind of... I remember being a kid and wanting to get Gran Turismo 3, and I couldn't get it because I only had a PlayStation 1, and I was gutted. And then I remember I ended up getting Ridge Racer Type 4, which was just an incredible game. But as soon as I got my hands on a PlayStation 2, Gran Turismo 3 was my first game with that kind of generation. I think it always has been, actually. I think I waited for a PlayStation 3 as well, so I was on a Xbox 360 for years, and I was waiting for Gran Turismo 5 to come out to get myself a PlayStation 3. So GT5 was my first game on that console. I think the only one that's not is the PlayStation 4. Obviously GT Sport didn't come out till, what, 2017? And then GT7 didn't come out till 2022. So yeah, it's as I remembered, it's a reverse layout of Grand Valley, and that's going to invalidate me. I knew that was coming. That bump just throwing the car off there. Yeah, GT5 was great. I did really enjoy that. It was just a weird one for me though. I feel like after playing Gran Turismo 4 for like what must have been thousands upon thousands of hours, and then waiting around for Gran Turismo 5 with all the hype and all the delays to it, and then eventually it arrived, I remember at first being really disappointed with it. There was just things that I didn't like about it. The way that it, you know, the driving in it, I was really not a fan of Gran Turismo 5, and it took me a while to kind of get used to it. And I feel like that's one thing they did improve in Gran Turismo 6, was especially the physics in Gran Turismo 6 from 5. Although, you know, they're not too different in terms of the kind of games they are. I'd say the physics in Gran Turismo 6 were a massive jump from GT5, but in terms of content, GT5 was great. Once I did eventually, you know, kind of take that time to get used to it and kind of, you know, got my head around of that, okay, it's definitely not the best driving we've ever had in the series. I spent a lot of time with Gran Turismo 5. It was a really good game, but I think it was disappointing at first just because of the long wait for it. There was a lot of delays with that game. I remember, you know, getting ready for it to come out, and then all of a sudden it'd be pushed back a bit more. I mean, it was the same with Gran Turismo 4. That was another game that felt like it got delayed a lot. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the same with Gran Turismo 7. I feel if they'd have just waited, Gran Turismo 7 could have been a much more fleshed out title. Yeah, the test tracking from Top Gear. Yeah, I remember that. And it had the NASCAR special events as well, and I think WRC, I think they had a license for a few of their cars as well, like the official ones. And it was the first with the damage model, if I remember. So there we go. We now have the international A licenses done. We've got all the licenses done. Unfortunately, we don't get a reward card because we didn't get them gold. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but they're done, so we now have access to everything. So I'm just going to save the game quickly. I don't know, man. I think GTA will come out when GTA comes out. There's always going to be rumours around everything, so I don't think we have a car at the minute now. Okay, so let's just go back to the world map. So what I'm going to do, now I've just gone through all of those license tests, I'm going to take a quick 10-minute break. I'm just going to go and get myself a drink and stuff, and then we will continue on and start off through the events of Gran Turismo 1 when I'm back. So I'll be back soon. Thank you. Okay, let's get back to it then. So, we now need to go and purchase our first car. Any suggestions, guys? Anything you actually want me to pick up as a beginner car? I think in terms of events, we're going to do... Yeah, so we're going to do the Sunday Cup first. And I'm pretty sure it's open to everything. Yeah, so there's no restrictions on car type. So, any suggestions on specific cars we should get? We've obviously got the used car dealerships. Got Mirage there as well. I'm hoping if we can... I do apologise for the squeaky chair, by the way, if you do hear that. We can really get a car that can go across multiple different categories. Yeah, I mean... Let's see what we've got here. So... What we're limited to... Oh, see... I don't think there's another Skyline there. It's going to be just over. Yeah, the GTS. 10,000. Yeah, okay, there's another one there. There we go. I think that might be... I think I'm probably going to choose that over the likes of the Sylvia. Prelude. Let's have a look. What prices we're going for there? I think they're front wheel drive as well, aren't they? So we can use that for other events, if I remember. Yeah. So what do you reckon? R32 Prelude. I'm tempted to say the Prelude because I'm pretty sure that'll work well in the the FF. But then I do like the FTO as well. How much can we get one of them for? Is there one in the used? Oh, look at the prices on them, man. Oh, I do like an FTO. See, that's one car I would love Polyphony to bring back, is the FTO. It's just such a cool looking car. I'm pretty sure there's a wingless variant in this, yeah. And then there's the beefier one. Yeah, the Mirage. That was always kind of my go-to. But I'm pretty sure it's a bit of a struggle. It's nice and cheap. 172. What was the Honda? Let's have a look at that. The Honda. Prelude. 160. So yeah, I feel like the Mirage is probably... It's a bit of a bargain, really. And we can use it in the FF as well. Yeah, let's go Mirage. So there we go, that's our first car. I think it's probably automatically put us in it. Yep. So let's go then. First races. We're going to do the Sunday Cup first. Let's get racing underway then. So again, my chair's probably going to squeak again because I'm going to have to move. So if I remember, this qualifying as well. Yeah, so there we go, qualifying. Let's go. Let's just do it. I'm pretty sure when it comes to Gran Turismo 1, the AI's qualifying times are ridiculously fast, and then in the race they're just nowhere, which I always found was hilarious because a lot of the time it makes qualifying really redundant. So I'll probably just do this one qualifying for the entirety of the Sunday Cup here. Okay, this is much less sketchy to drive than the likes of the TVR and Viper we've just driven. The Pulsar, I'm pretty sure it's, if I remember rightly, a bit more. So do you know what, that's not too bad actually. So we put it in P2, which is much better because in the video playthrough I did, I was using the Toyota A86, and that thing was so slow. I mean, it could win the races, but in terms of qualifying, it was just nowhere. Is that the Toyota 11 there as well? Up in P1. Looks like a Civic back there. Can't really tell, you know. Good old rendering. So as you can see, as soon as you kind of get a little bit away from the cars, they go into a blocky mess. And I have a feeling the rubber banding might have just kicked in. Yes, it has. That's one thing I noticed recently. So, Gran Turismo 2 A Spec, obviously the mod for Gran Turismo 2. I was playing through that at the beginning of this year, and honestly, the rubber banding in the older Gran Turismo games is ridiculous. You'll pull out a huge lead, and then all of a sudden, you've got a car with like 20 brake horsepower maximum just pulling up on you. It's it's pretty crazy, but this is a pretty smooth run. Throw it into the right hander and get this race done. We should be able to cross the line. Yeah, there we go. So that is race 1 done. Nice, pretty easy first place. My biggest worry though is I think the next event is High Speed Ring, and that is kind of the make or break for these kind of early cars, especially because you've not got much money. A lot of these cars are, you know, I guess slow in the nicest way possible. So yeah, it's a bit difficult on the High Speed Ring early on because, again, the whole rubber banding and some of the cars that you are up against are pretty quick. So I think I'll probably do qualifying for this one just to kind of see where we're at pace-wise, because we're going to lose probably a lot of time here to some of the cars on the grid. Now I'm going to try and multitask here because I need to put the back of my chair up. Technical difficulties. Hopefully that... Oh, there we go. Bit of back support. So far, so good. It's always weird that they start you off on a standing start, because especially with a front-wheel drive car, it's going to be typically a lot slower off the line than any rear-wheel drive and such, or four-wheel drive, especially if they put any in. But if I remember rightly, the game just picks from a select pool of different vehicles for different events, so you can kind of get away with it in some of them if it just starts putting in really slow cars with you. Yeah, I mean, I love the standing starts for the grid, but for qualifying, I'd rather be on a roll, get that momentum there. But run it a little bit deep there. But we're going to come up and across the line. Yeah, I do not like these kind of chasing them down sort of thing. I've never been a huge fan of it. Okay, I'll click replay there, my bad. Yes, 6. So, for some reason, High Speed Ring, the AI are always a lot quicker. I kind of gathered that would happen. Yeah, the chasing the rabbit kind of situation. It's pretty annoying. Because I feel like a lot of it is just to sort of artificially make events harder, because the standard AI in Gran Turismo 7 is just not that good, especially in certain cars. Like, if you put them in anything that's kind of like American Muscle and that car runs on like comfort tyres, they will just be so slow, and you know, the only way for them to make the AI at least any kind of competitive is by just putting them about, 100 seconds down the road. But you're seeing the opposite of it here, where they boost up the pacing in the qualifying, and then all of a sudden the cars don't have much pace through the race. But I do have a feeling that they're probably going to catch me on that back straight. So let's see how the gap is once we go across the line. Oh, that bump just upsets the car there. Hello, Turbo. Okay, so they're not closing up the gap as much. In fact, it's quite a spread out grid. They're doing that whole single line formation that they always did in the older games. But we have plenty of pace in the Mitsubishi, so we should be all good. Endurance events too, yeah. If you're on about if I'll be doing them, absolutely. Maybe not in the exact same stream. I am going to literally beat all the games through live streams now, just because it's just a nicer way to play the games. Yeah, we've got a pretty steady gap there, so basically confirmed as winning this championship now. Did we have an event at Fuji? I mean, I'll admit I don't really play much. Yeah, so we basically won that. I don't really play much of the sport mode, like the likes of Gran Turismo 7 and such. I found that I played a lot more of the sport mode in GT Sport, and it was a much better overall feeling than it was in GT7. I feel like it's kind of the standard of driving in GT7 has really kind of gone down. Especially in the early days. I mean, a lot of people skipped GT Sport, and then getting into a lobby with those guys, it was kind of obvious because they'd just pile into the pack and stuff. Whereas I feel like the whole, as much as GT Sport was kind of its own thing, I would say in terms of the online driving standard, it was much better. I feel like a lot of people were a lot more respectful with the whole kind of, FIA official license and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of made people a bit more cautious and respectful. But GT7, it's just, I don't know. It depends on the race. Sometimes you'll have really good racers, and you'll meet some great clean drivers there. And then other times you've just got some of the most obvious dirty driving you've ever seen, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like I think there's a report system in Gran Turismo or like Sony or whatever, but it doesn't really matter because nothing will get done. So it's almost completely pointless, and that's why you get your drivers that kind of just do that thing for the fun of it. But I'm one of them. I can kind of see the funny side of the whole, Kimi Villacini thing and all that lot, because that guy is really quick, but he just chose to just drive dirty, and I don't know. I find it kind of funny. I raced him a couple of times, and it's just funny watching him do what he does. No, I don't know. I mean, GT Sport was weird at first, but then they very quickly put in a lot of single player content, and I think even now, I think I did a video of it last year. I'll probably have to go back and check now, but there was a lot more single player content and a lot longer single player content in GT Sport than there is GT7, which Makes no sense. Like, GT7 is supposed to be a main numbered title, so you think it'd be really fleshed out in that department, but it's kind of a game that doesn't know what it wants to be. And I think that's always been Gran Turismo 7's problem, is not even necessarily the post-launch cars or the lineup of cars. It's just a game that doesn't know what it wants to be. It's like, got the whole focus. Okay, everybody's crashing there for some reason. That was weird. So it's got the whole emphasis on sport mode still, you know, carrying it over from GT Sport, but then pushing itself as a numbered title, and then throwing in like random events and stuff to the single player. It's like, what kind of game is this meant to be? And I feel like because they didn't know where to focus, that it kind of just ruined GT7 as a whole. Which is a shame, because I would say the driving in GT7 is absolutely miles ahead of anything else. Even when they changed the physics and stuff, like, I wasn't a fan of the ones in the middle of last year, but now they've kind of overhauled them again recently in January with the suspension and stuff. The driving itself in GT7 is the best we've ever had, and it's a shame because the rest of the game is just lacking so much. Like, for me, GT7 feels like a game that had so much potential and yet just didn't live up to it, especially with the hype behind it. But again, maybe part of the problem is just the fact that it got released across 2 different consoles, because the whole PlayStation 5 shortage and stuff at the time, you know. It was supposed to be a PS5 exclusive, and then, oh yeah, it's coming for PlayStation 4, so... But who knows, man. I don't know if they got limited by that, or... Because at times they've kind of creeped away from the PlayStation 4 release with kind of the Sophie AI thing and stuff like that, but I do feel like what's happened with GT7's kind of put a dampen, you know, kind of dampen the spirits with Gran Turismo 8 whenever that eventually happens, if it even happens. I think it will, because it makes a lot of money as a series, so there is that. You know, I don't think Sony's going to get rid of their kind of flagship racer anytime soon. But I do think a lot of the choices that have been made with Gran Turismo 7 does worry me a little bit for future Gran Turismo titles. So I believe this is the last event from the Sunday Cup, and with that we are done. Winning all 3 races, pretty easy. The Mitsubishi definitely working well there. Taking the maximum amount of points at 27. What came second? 11. Then the Civic, that dropped back in this race. Didn't finish very well. Demio, kind of mid-pack. Another Mirage. And an S14 Silvia, doing not well at all. That's surprising. So there we go. That is the first cup completed. Okay, now we've made profit. So that's that done. We're going to get a bonus of 15,000 credits, taking our total to 25k. And we are the series champion. We also get a new car. Obviously that is a thing. I'm pretty sure this one's set for the, if I remember rightly, the Demio, like the modified version of it. Some of the championships are repeatable and you can get different rewards, but I don't think this is one of them. So yeah, there we go. Demio A-Spec. I think that is a really good looking car. I love the 3 spokes on that. Again, 3 spoke wheels and Gran Turismo for me just go hand in hand. It's obviously looking a bit dated, but I think it looks very cool with a kind of Mazda Speed banner and such on it. Probably completely useless. We'll maybe find a use for that later. But I am now going to go and try and do the FF challenge here. Let's look at the info. I think we might be alright. Yeah, should we upgrade? Do we upgrade the car, or do we just try and go in with it standard? I think I'm going to try. I mean, it's going to be. Was the Integras in this game? I'm pretty sure there was. I know there's FTOs. We'll try it at first. But I really feel like I might have to. Let's have a look at the entry list. So we've got Eclipse, 236 brake horsepower. Civic CRX 199. Primera 201. 208 for Atlantis. So that Eclipse is definitely going to be a bit of a problem. We have, by a long shot, the least amount of horsepower here. The Starlet's also quicker. I think we're going to have to go and back out of this one. Yeah, definitely upgrades. Exit championship. Let's go stick some upgrades on. So, what are we, Mitsubishi? So it should be Rally Art. Okay, so I want to keep the price down of upgrades. There should be a computer there. That gives us 171. I'm looking for probably about 200 brake. I feel like we could get away with that. So let's put that on. 197 for that. Yeah, that will almost take us in. It's pretty cheap. I don't really want to put a turbo on it. Others, what we've got, any weight reduction. Again, I don't think weight reduction is really going to be necessary. It's still quite a lightweight car. The brakes, again, I think they'll be fine. Ooh, 10 grand for like 5 brake horsepower. That NA tune, 3,000 for 213 brake. I feel like that's going to be the one. That's going to be enough. I'm trying to keep costs down with this car. So let's go and see if we can now win. So I've got a feeling here it'll probably change the lineup of cars and there'll be something even quicker. Yeah, there you go. See, now all of a sudden they're a lot faster. So we've upgraded. We've still got the likes of the Starlet in here, Atlantis, but now all of a sudden there's an FDO and a Prelude. We do weigh a decent amount less than them, so I think we can probably give them a good run for the money. I'm not going to qualify. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. We're just going to go for it. We're just going to get straight into the race and get started. We're obviously going to be starting at the back here. It'll be interesting to see where the other cars started. Obviously, there's two that are running in the 250 brake range. Bit of an engine note change there with the upgrades. So yeah, looking like the Honda and the Mitsubishi FTO did start on pole. We are doing the reverse layout of Deep Forest. Okay, this car feels incredibly sketchy. Yeah, you'd think being a bit lighter weight that would be making dents by now, but it is not looking likely. And by the look of it, the FTO's dropped back quite a bit there, so... Looking like it's going to be a rough finish here. I mean, the pack's definitely spreading out at the front. That Honda has disappeared. I don't think this car's going to be able to do it. Definitely trying to save a few credits for the later game. And I don't really want to spend too much more putting upgrades on this car, because after this one we're probably never going to see the Mirage again. We could sell it, but we're probably going to make a pretty chunky loss on the car by the time we put the upgrades on needed. I mean, the brakes are fine, the tyres feel fine, but we definitely just need that extra kind of grunt. Yeah, so we're going to finish this event up probably in last position. We're then going to back out, go back to the drawing board and do it again. So yeah, the car way off the pace there. Even compared to the cars that had less horsepower than us, funnily enough, they were incredibly quick through there. The FTO coming towards the back of the grid by the look of it. I'm assuming, yeah, the Honda won a decent amount as well. But the Starlet there up in P3, that's surprising, because that is the slowest car on the grid by a mile. Okay, so we're going to take 300 credits from that. That'll probably buy us nothing. So I'm just going to go next session, and then I'm going to back out, and we're going to put a few more upgrades on. I don't really want to touch the brakes; they're fine. I don't really want to touch tyre compounds or anything like that. Definitely need a bit of an extra grunt from the car. So we'll exit the championship. We will have to do that round again, but that's just part of the old Gran Turismo games. So it seems to take forever to load up. So back to Mitsubishi, back to Rally Art. Now, I don't know, how much is it for stage 2? 10,000 for 225 brake. That's 5,000 for 222. See, I'm wondering if that's going to be enough, because we're spending a lot of credits here to just try and get this car to work. I don't think we need to do anything really with that. There's not enough horsepower to be messing around with it. I don't really want to turbocharge it. Can you turbocharge this thing? No. Yeah, we already have the racing on, don't we? Okay. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I feel like we're just going to have to just suck it up and spend more. That'll give us 236. But it's like 10,000. And I see Rory. Engine balancing, how much is that? See, we're in the kind of the range of like minimum 10 grand tuning parts. And I really want to save some credits for some of these later cars, but you know, we might have to do a bit of grinding during this series. So I reckon I'm just going to go stage 2 NA tune. It goes 236. That's surely enough. When it comes to power weight as well, we should be in a better position than the Honda. So yeah, see, these are the events later on that I'm definitely looking forward to, but hopefully we get some decent machinery. The one car I do want to get my hands on is definitely the FTO race car. If I remember rightly, that thing was just crazy overpowered. So I'm going to skip the qualifying, because if we've got enough power to win it, then we're just gonna win. Yeah, the GTO with racing modifications. Yeah, that thing, that thing's great. Yeah, let's hope. Again, I feel like it's just kind of boosted the AI up again. So it's looking like so far putting more horsepower in it has done nothing because the car's faster, but now the AI's even quicker. I think if I remember rightly, when I first did this one, I did it in a EG Civic, which was probably fully upgraded. Yeah, it's a nice layout of Deep Forest, that's for sure. Well, there's a lot of blind corners that can really kind of throw you off. So there we go. We have made a move there. So we do have the top end at least. Oh, that FTO. We'll just use them as the turn. We'll use them as the brakes. Let him bump us. So P4 this time. So definitely, it'll be interesting to see how off the pace the car is with that run to the leader. If we've closed the gap up, okay, 2.9. So that's better than 5 seconds. We've almost halved the gap. But it is still not good enough. So we are definitely going to have to, once again, go and find some upgrades. I think now we've got the extra power in the car, definitely needs a bit of weight reduction. But I've got a feeling we might not have enough. So we'll just skip that, then we'll back out and go again. Good old black screen. Yeah, I don't. We could put tyres on it, but I feel like a lot of the weight through the corner, it feels really, really heavy through the kind of the blind section where there's a lot of trees. So it's just what's the cheapest weight reduction? Stage 1 1,000. So we'll put that on. Let's have a look at the tyres then. Semi-racing, see it's a minimum of 5, so we can't do the tyres. Is there any other really cheap, what should it, wait, it's 5 grand for that. We can't turbocharge it. I don't think the gearbox needs doing. Should we do the clutch? I don't think it's going to make much of a difference if we're not doing the rest of the gearbox. Slightly improved acceleration with that, so we'll put it on. And then we will try again. I always felt like the special events were definitely more tricky than the kind of whole GT League stuff. That's definitely one thing I noticed. A lot of the GT League is very kind of set in stone. You kind of know what to expect, but the let's have a look at the entry list now. So 258. See, there's a lot of cars here that are putting out almost no. I mean, we've got a Del Sol in here now. I mean, that Atlantis is ridiculously fast for a car that's supposed to be putting out no power. Quite a few lightweight cars here. That Levin is incredibly light. So the FDO is the fastest, but that one tends to drop back. There is no prelude in this one, so that might work in our favour. So no, we're gonna skip the qualifying again. It's not going to make much difference whether we're running at the front or the back. If I think we've got better pace this time around, and I feel like qualifying will help by just blocking, then I might qualify for the next couple. But all being well, we can pull something off here. So acceleration definitely a bit perkier there. Definitely feel a bit of a difference in the car with that weight reduction. So we're going to throw it into the right hand of the... Yeah, okay, that felt much better. Just with the stage 1 weight reduction, really. Car still feeling very slippy. But it's looking like we are going to make a move here. So, I mean, that's the Del Sol, so that's expected. Just getting a little blocked off by the Mazda there. Time to throw it down the inside. Definitely didn't want to change direction in the car. The Del Sol all of a sudden doing a bit of good old rubber banding. Yeah, sticking everything on the car and barely tuning. That's definitely something I did, but I was, a lot younger. But I just feel with the age of the game again, the tuning system, it was, very deep and stuff, and you can change up how the car acts, but I wouldn't say it's as necessary as like, today. So we've got plenty of pace through there, but it's always a car just kind of jumps in front. I feel like if we've got a good run through there, we'd be, well, okay, we're getting bumped into there. Sliding off there. So this is going to be another miserable finish for the Mirage. I'm thinking if there's anywhere else we can race this thing right now. Build up a few credits, stick a few more parts on it, and then come back and win the FF. Okay, my thinking is I don't think we need the Mazda. And we can sell prize cars in this game. I'm pretty certain of it. So I'm tempted to sell the Mazda, fund the Mirage, and then hopefully we get enough to actually win. At least that's my thinking anyway. Possibly not. It might not work. Depends how much we get. Yeah, see, I'm reluctant to run it again. There is one. I'm trying to think which cup it is, and I always ran it with the Dodge Viper over and over again, and it paid out incredibly well. I think the first race is at Autumn Ring Mini. Okay, so let's get in and see if we can go and sell this to Mazda. There's Mazda over there. So used car, sell. See, we get 12k for that, and we can go and get the car back if we do want it back. So if that funds this car to be quicker. So back to Rally Art. Tyres, semi-racing. I'm going to go with the hards. It's still an improvement. So that leaves us £9 grand. $242 or a stage. Okay, yeah, we're not. I'm not paying 50 grand. That's for sure. So engine balancing, 242 brake horsepower, or we could go for. How much are the brakes? 4.5. I don't think we need more weight reduction. The car felt okay, and it should be better with the tyres. Suspension maybe. Could go for a sports. I mean, that's free. Let's go for the suspension. We'll put a sports suspension on it. And how much is weight reduction to? 5k. £5 grand. Is there any more performance stuff we can get for about £5 grand? I don't think so. Transmission, gearbox. We can get a sports one for 5.5. Recommend for naturally aspirated, that one, for the close ratio. What do we think then? Weight reduction or try the gearbox and see if we can get some better potential going on? I'm thinking gearbox. Probably going to bankrupt myself here. Let's just go for it. Go for the close ratio, and let's hope that this pays off. Because if it doesn't, then I will have to end up going and running the Sunday Cup again, which I didn't want to do just yet. Okay, let's look at the entry list now. FTO, that's still there. There was a very little Celica this time. Civic Racer. I think this one might be winnable. But again, a lot of these lower power cars for some reason are incredibly quick. And I've got a feeling it's a lot of it's to do with just rubber banding and not the fact that they've got decent power to weight ratio or anything. Okay. So we've got improved gearbox, better tyres, definitely much better off the line there. Acceleration feels better. Going through the gears much better. Get a nice little bump off the Celica there. Ooh, almost. Okay, that's much better. This is definitely starting to seem winnable. We've got the Premiere there just holding up the FTO, so you keep doing that, mate. So that's kind of helped us out. Now I cannot see anything. And we are going to take the lead on the Honda there, but we're going to run it a little bit early. We'll just take a bump at this point. Okay, let's see how quickly they catch us on a straight. VTEC power gone. Hey, thanks, Nick. Okay, that was a lot smoother. We didn't end up nearly tipping the car over. I don't think it's possible in this one, but still. Oh, yeah, should have probably stuck that in third there. Okay, let's see if we can beat VTEC here. Okay, that Honda's not giving up. That thing must be incredibly good through the corners. Tyres definitely providing much better grip through there. Oh, getting out of shape there. Oh, it's going to catch, but not soon enough. There we go. Finally. That was an incredibly close race. So the Civic right up there, the FTO coming back in the end. The other three cars I'm not really too worried about, but that FTO definitely going to be quick if we end up getting the likes of High Speed Ring. I don't think we do. And the Civic, well, it's the Civic type part. It's just kind of what they do. Front wheel drive, decent amount of power, lightweight. Definitely feel that car could probably upset the momentum. Where are we? Grand Valley East. No, I'm not going to qualify for this one. The only worry I've got here, so we're going to skip that qualifying, is the straight is much longer than I remember. Every single time I get to Grand Valley Speedway, I just forget how long that straight goes on for. So definitely the FTO is going to be a bit of a problem there. I think the Honda might drop off during this event. I think it's going to be the FTO that we've really got to watch out for. The Sleek are not getting a decent start there, so we're going to move ourselves into P5. We've got turn 1. Hopefully it'll throw off some of these cars, but probably won't. Oh, yeah, it did. Yep. They just braked out of nowhere, so that was a bit of a close one. A bit of a close shave, but we are through into the top 3. The FT at that Premiere all of a sudden got power in this event. It was absolutely a no-way car. Okay, we're bouncing across there. Fair enough. It was a no-way car in the first round, but all of a sudden it's now coming back. But we are past. Oh, no, it's fighting back. So let's see if we can get the overtake done in the right-hander here. I don't want to lift off too much. If we can carry my momentum, then good. The FTO definitely much quicker here than it was at Deep Forest, and it's probably going to be even faster down the straight, of course. We've got the car set up with the close ratio transmission, so we don't necessarily have the top speed, but we are actually gaining on it there. But we're going to top out now at about 150. So there we go. Yeah, it's just going to bounce off the rev limiter. But we actually managed to stay with the FTO there, which wasn't too bad. Again, the car just getting caught on that bump. The Civic came out of nowhere. Where's that thing come from? So now the Civic's going to be an issue. Okay, so these are really the we're kind of back in the order that it was at Deep Forest. So the Civic all of a sudden going to be a problem. We're going to throw it up the inside here. I think that FTO is going to get the inside line there. We're probably going to end up bouncing off him. Oh no, we've managed to actually clear it, so that's worked in our favour. Again, we kind of gained on the middle of the straight on the FTO, so if we can get a clean run through here, we actually might be able to take the win. And who knows, maybe even the Civic. I could do with the FTO getting P2 here, just so the Civic levels it on points with the FTO. That gives me a bit of breathing room. But I think we are going to take the win here. That FTO is gaining, but not going to be enough. There we go. Definitely much better than I expected. I really thought the FTO might just pip us on the straight. Again, a very close race. The Civic P3, so that should put them two level on points, because I think they both switch between P2 and P3. So yeah, 18, 10, 10, 6, 4, 2. The Primera again dropping off. The Sleeker's just got no hope, and the Lantis is just kind of there. So, what was the maximum? 8 points? Or is it? Yeah, it must be. Was it 9 points per race? 9. And we've got an 8-point gap. So I think we're pretty alright. I can't remember. You do get points for last place, I'm pretty sure. So, we're going to skip the qualifier. Special stage route 11. Great. Here we go. The one track that I absolutely hate in this game, and we have it for our last race. This is going to be not pleasant. So we should be able to get the Sleeker off the line again. We've been beating that thing all day, and it's just come straight across us there, but we have beat it. So P5, I'm pretty sure we'd win it if we stayed there, but we're not going to settle. At least P3 here, and I'll be comfortable. Yeah, we'd lose a few credits, but once again, it seems the Civic's going to... Okay, really weird under the brakes there. So the Civic's a bit of a slow burner, by the look of it. That'll probably come into its own on lap 2. The Primera, though, is a weird one. It starts off so well and matches the FTO. Obviously, it did at Grand Valley as well. But then it just drops to absolutely nowhere. I'm not sure if it's its top speed or what. Maybe it's got really good handling. But as soon as it gets on a straight... In fact, it's up to P2 there. I should have took a screenshot of that. But we are in the lead much easier now. The FTO just struggling through those grippy sections. Now we do have this horrible kind of chicane section here on the underpass, but we are through nice and clean. The AI really losing a lot of pace through there, so thankfully they do struggle through that section as much as I do. So we should have a right left, bouncing off the wall a bit there. Into the left-hander, and then we're going to go uphill through the tunnel into the right-hander. Again, I've got a feeling although they're front-wheel drive cars, I do feel like the AI might struggle through this bit just here because of just how much it bumps about. It's really deceiving. Gran Turismo 1, it always looks like it's just got camber and it's a flat surface, but that's not true. Your car just bumps about quite a bit. Such a long lap here. Yeah, we're not going to DNF. The only way I DNF is if my game just decided to crash, which I shouldn't have said that because it probably will now, but we should be okay. So we'll get this done and then I will save the game again. Be interesting to see if that FDO catches us again. Again, we top out around about 150, but then we do bounce off the limiter. No, definitely not catching as much as I thought it would. It probably is going to down the bottom. Okay, the Primera again, looking much stronger here. Oh. Completely lost where I was then. That's what I mean by this track's just a maze. It's so samey. And the FTO just bounced off the wall there as well. But thank you to the Mirage. We can probably, as much as I don't like doing this, we're probably going to sell the starter car to fund another project. Depending on what prize car we get will depend on where we go next. I'm pretty sure because this is a front wheel drive championship, it's going to be some type of front wheel drive car. I'm not quite really remembering what the prize is for this one. But hopefully it's not front wheel drive, because I think really with front wheel drive we're pretty much done there. We don't need to do really much more with them. Although I am really desperate to get behind the wheel of an Mitsubishi FTO. Now I've seen one. Just such a cool design of a car. I mean, I even looked into trying to actually buy one not too long ago, but they're all really rusted, or they're just the model that you probably wouldn't want, which is a huge shame because I thought they were so cool. Like, even back in the day when you see one, they just look amazing. That rear wing, I mean, Mitsubishi's car design, I don't know what went wrong. They was making so many cool cars through the kind of 90s and 2000s, and then boom, 2010s arrived, and that was pretty much the end of Mitsubishi, really. So there we go, 3 wins out of 3. Not bad. The Primera definitely stepping up this. The Civic, absolutely nowhere, so yeah, the FTO could have pulled that back there, but it didn't. So there we go. That is the Mirage giving us a nice win there. So another 5,000 credits. We're obviously going to get a bonus here. So I've got a feeling maybe 20k. That'd be nice. Oh no, 10. Okay. We got less for this than we did the Sunday Cup. Fair enough. So there we go. We also have a new car as well. So credits still pretty low. Just kind of is what it is. There's not much we can do about that just yet. I'm going to look into... Okay, we've got Lightweight Cup. Can this car do it? Ultramarine Mini, Clubman Stage Route 5 and Deep Forest Racing Way 2. What do we reckon? Can this car enter it? Obviously there's no K cars in this game, and I've got a feeling it's just entered us, so... Good morning, Browno. I am good. How are you? So let's have a look at the entry list here. Okay, this might be a lot easier to win. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. I was going to take a quick break, but now I've seen this. Again, it's just another championship ticked off. So we're going to go ahead and try and win this one. Hopefully it's easier than the FF championship we just did, because that was a nightmare. But if we've got the car for it, we may as well just get straight in. Obviously there is another Mirage here. And obviously no real K cars in Gran Turismo 1. I believe they started appearing in Gran Turismo 2, so a little bit different for the Lightweight Cup here. Again, AI pretty quick. We've got the CRX over there as well. Is that the one with the different coloured tyres? Yeah, I believe that's a reward car actually for this one. It's either, I think it's this might be the one with switchable prizes, where it's either the CRX or the Roadster, Mazda. So we've got an A86 in the lead by the look of it. That thing's holding up pretty well. We could do with a race win early on, but it depends if that thing's beatable. We're just going to take a bit of a shortcut there. Look, sometimes you just got to bend the rules. The Toyota's going to try it up the inside here, so we're just going to again move right across, up the hill into the left-hander, and we should be able to get a nice win here. That Toyota a lot quicker than I expected. Watching it work. Well, I hope you have a good day at work, if it's morning for where you are. Nice, easy win there. So the Levin Mirage, that moved up. Oh, got another Mirage as well. CRX didn't do too much. The Demio just dropped like a lead balloon. So hopefully get another championship under our belts here. That's another 5k in credits. Let's go for the next session then. Again, skip the qualifying. So if you have enjoyed watching Gran Turismo 1 tonight, I do plan to stream again on Monday, possibly Tuesday, but I think more than likely it will be Monday. So if you do want to follow this series, it'll all be done through live streams now. Again, it was a bit last minute today, but I'll probably post something up on the community section. Probably Sunday. Just confirming when the next stream will be. But again, like I said, now that I have moved and I've got my whole office set up, I'm looking at streaming probably 2 to 3 times a week. Videos I'm going to try and get back to being daily. Again, it's just been a bit of a nightmare, kind of moving places, getting everything set up, and getting back in that routine of making videos is definitely probably the thing I've struggled with the most. And then it didn't help that the last update for Gran Turismo 7 came out, and on the actual day of the update, I ended up with kind of the winter vomiting bug or stomach virus, stomach flu, whatever it's called. That was great. I went to make the video on the kind of update notes. And basically I got the video done and I thought, okay, this don't feel right. And yeah, the next thing, yeah, just kind of really messed things up with that day. And yeah, just trying to get my own momentum back and motivate myself at times. It's just been so annoying because I'm finding myself having so many other things to do. But hopefully we are back properly now in terms of YouTube. And again, I will be hopefully streaming more, so should be good. I always, especially with like these older titles and stuff like that, I do like the whole relaxed atmosphere of it, interacting with you guys. Hence why I wanted to turn it into a live format rather than editing a single video for 6-7 hours when I could just go live and interact with you guys during my playthroughs of all these games. Ah, you're in New Zealand. Ah, yeah, of course, it's the end of the week for you guys. So it'll be Friday for you already, yeah? Yeah, there's nothing better than a nice... Yeah, I'll be doing a playthrough of all the Gran Turismo games. I might change it up when it comes to Gran Turismo 2 because Gran Turismo 2 A-Spec is obviously a thing, which is a modded version of Gran Turismo 2. And I would say it's probably the single best way to play through that game ever, with the kind of prize cards and stuff. So it will be a bit different. But then again, I might just do a kind of vanilla Gran Turismo 2 playthrough and then do a Gran Turismo 2 A-Spec playthrough, just to kind of mix it up, because then we can kind of see the original version, what it was like with polyphony and stuff, and then obviously after that you can see what it's like when it's modded as well. So Road Trip Adventure, yes, what a game. I am so glad somebody mentioned that game. I thought for the longest time, especially growing up, that I was the only person in the world that knew what that game was, and it is one of my favourite games to ever exist. If you've never ever heard of what Road Trip Adventure is, there's a spiritual successor being released towards the end of this year, I believe, and it's hard to explain, but it's kind of a Japanese series of cars that are like kind of mushed up, but they all have personalities, and you'll drive from town to town. And there was the My City thing in that as well, where you could like invite cars to come to your own town, and it'd sort of build up different part shops and stuff like that. But the main aim of the game, if I remember, was to basically win a bunch of races at different cities and become the president of the world. I don't know. It sounds so ridiculous on the surface, and it is a ridiculous game, but it was so good. So I am so happy that someone just mentioned Road Trip Adventure. What a legend you are. So we've definitely not done as good for this race. Maybe the Mirage just doesn't like deep forest, which I don't in reverse. Every single race we've done has been on the reverse layout. Yeah, it was basically a really weird like kind of car PG game before like the term car PG was a thing. There was a whole Japanese series of it as well, the Chorokyu series, and I did try and get myself into playing some of the Japanese versions, but the trouble is, I mean, I don't know if this is obvious, but I can't read Japanese. So I was putting Google Lens on the screen like every kind of 2 minutes, or translate whatever it is, to kind of translate the text. But then I kind of got a bit fed up because, again, like a lot of Japanese games of that era, the menus are just so cluttered that it just became tiring. Oh, okay, way on two wheels there. Do you know what? That was a good move. I'll take that one. But yeah, there's a whole series of games like that. They're so good. But yeah, the AI definitely quick, but they seem to have slowed down there. But P2, that should be enough. If I can get P1 on the last corner, I'll be even happier, but I doubt it. Oh, hold on. No, not happening. Okay. No, we just bumped the Toyota for no reason. But we should still win this series as long as we can just hold off those guys. Yeah, penny races, gadget races. I never played too much of penny races. It was always mainly just Road Trip for me. It was just such a good game. It was so unique at the time. And I feel like a lot of people looked at it and thought it was just kind of a bargain bin game. So they just didn't pick it up. And they just missed out on like the most epic thing in the world. Big thank you to JR as well. Okay, so the credits building up there. We should have another car here as a prize car. I didn't even check out the last one, so we just jumped straight in. So another 10 grand on top, almost 50k. And that is the lightweight cup done, as well as the FF. I genuinely don't think we can get anything more out of the Mirage here, so I might have to say goodbye to it. But with it being the starter car, I may just keep it in the garage. Play BeamMG Drive. I do play a lot of BeamMG in my spare time. I was close to doing a video on it not too long ago because I had this really cool idea on one of the maps that I downloaded of just seeing which cars could just survive a set of stairs, but I didn't know how to. I was kind of like umming and ahhing. So we've got the Celica SS2. That was a terrible car, and the Roadster that could come in handy. But yeah, with BeamNG Drive, I was like, okay, how do I turn this into an entertaining video or informative? And I just couldn't. It was just basically me throwing myself downstairs in cars and wrecking them. So I was a bit ooming and on, but BeamNG is great. So we're just going to save that. We're going to overwrite it. Hello, Antonio. Yeah, getting airborne at the slightest jump. There was a... I'm trying to think. I think if you just drove off the edge of the starting area, you could drive to the little kind of tiki area, and just go and get the. I'm pretty sure it was the rocket boosters inside like 10 minutes, and then basically just absolutely destroy the game from there when it came to Road Trip Adventure. So that has saved. Have I heard of Grog TV? Yeah, that sounds really familiar. I feel like I have watched videos from them. Okay, so what have we completed so far? We've got the Sunday Cup done. We've got FF cars, lightweight done. Normal car. Is that just commercially available cars? So we'll save that for later. I honestly think US versus Japan, UK versus Japan, UK versus US. Favourite Civic gen? Mine, personally, EG, all the way. I'd love an EG Civic. One thing that's always annoyed me is when I first passed my test, it was where I picked my first car up from. There was an EG Civic for sale, but being in the UK, insurance at 17 years old is just through the roof. It's ridiculous. So I couldn't get insured on this Civic, and it was an EG Civic. And unfortunately, you just can't even find them now, which is so frustrating because I would love an EG Civic. But to be honest, I mean, I own a Civic Type R now, and they are a nightmare. So, I mean, they're great. They're great fun. But I think my Civic has spent more time in a garage than I have driving it over the last 2 years. I mean, pretty much all of 2024, that car spent in a garage, having repairs and, the whole rear beam and gearboxes and stuff like that. It was so expensive and so stupid. I feel like I definitely got conned when it came to my Civic Type R. I got it from a really good reputation dealership, like 5-star ratings. I thought, okay, if I'm going to buy something like this, I'm going to buy it from a safe place, like somewhere that's not going to be like some dodgy bloke that's going to sell me a car and it breaks down. But within, I think, 2 weeks, it was back at a garage because it needed the brakes doing. It needed everything doing. It was so stupid. So FR and 4-wheel drive. We also have the other one I'm looking at, GT League, the Clubman Cup. What cars are going to be running here? I'm going to enter it just to get an idea. Yeah, stock it's crazy, man. Like, even stock EGs, like the insurance for them is just ridiculous. Like, I think when my insurance started going down properly I think it's about 25 in the UK, and I think that's when mine started to go down, but not by much. I mean, even now, insurance is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm pushing nearly 30, so nearly 300 brake, all these Integra Eclipse 180 MR2 Impreza. So we're not going to tackle that one yet. Thank you, Antonio. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we've got the Mirage. I'm going to sell some of these prize cars because they're going to be no use. I don't think I've got a use for the Roadster, especially now we've done the lightweight cup. Let me just double check that we're definitely not going to have a use for it. No, so we're not going to have a use for it there. So I'm going to go and sell this. That one can definitely go. Oh, wrong place. Used car. Sell. Yeah, 12,000 credits there. Not too bad. I don't think we're going to have a use for this leaker either. I genuinely don't. I mean, it's the front wheel drive variant as well, so we may as well just sell that off to Toyota. Again, another 12k. So that gives us 73. Now, I am trying to remember the one that is incredibly good for grinding. And I remember running a Dodge Viper there. I have a feeling, I don't think it's a Clubman Cup. It's got to be one of the special events. It might be. Because it starts off at... No, it's not that one. If I remember rightly, it started off at the Autumn Ring Mini. So I'm looking for that one to appear on one of these first. It could even be a normal car. Autumn Ring Mini. Yeah, that is the one that pays out really well. And I'm pretty sure you just take a Dodge Viper there and it will win everything. So, how much is the Viper? About 100 grand. So we've got the RT10 for 68 grand, or the GTS. We need seven grand more, and we can literally go and get in that car. Can we sell this car if it's our last one? For 5 grand. So that wouldn't give us enough. I don't know whether to take the risk on buying. Is there much performance difference between these? 449 and 449. No. So I reckon if we buy the Viper, grind out the normal car event, it should win it with ease as long as it doesn't spawn in another Dodge Viper. And that will be our way to make some decent money. That was pretty much my go-to one. I'm pretty sure it was a normal car one, because the Viper is probably one of the fastest normal cars in the game. Yeah, let's do it. We'll risk it. So we are now in our Dodge Viper. Absolutely beautiful car, one of my favourite cars of all time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the normal car section, and then I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'll be down in the comment section to interact with you guys, but I'm just going to take 5 minutes, and then I'll probably play for maybe another hour. So yeah, I will see you in about 5 to 10 minutes time, and then we'll finish up for the evening, probably for another hour or so. Okay, we are back. Now, I'm probably going to go till about 10 p.m. tonight, so maybe another 50 minutes or so. We are going to attempt the normal car championship now. A little bit bigger. I believe there's 5 events in this. But you can make some good money here. So hopefully we can get building up those credits quite nicely, because we have just spent a lot on the Dodge Viper, and if this one doesn't work, then we're probably in trouble. So let's just see where we qualify at. Try GT4 on the PCSX2 emulator. I do. Obviously I played the Spec 2 mod recently, which is just incredible. So again, huge long gear ratios here. We can't upgrade the car either. Has to be completely standard. So a little bit sketchy, but the Dodge Viper should be able to do the job here. Definitely a bit big and bulky for such a small track. We're going to struggle getting out of the first couple of gears really. Obviously, again, notorious car for having incredibly long gears, but also incredibly fast, as well as pretty scary to drive. We actually hit our 3rd gear there. So there we go, let's see where we qualify. Hopefully it's good. Yes it is, okay, 2.6 seconds in the lead. What do we have here? We have the TRD 3000 GT. That is one that you get for the A license, all gold I believe. We've got Impreza, RX-7, Lancer Evo, and an R33 GTR. That GTR way off the pace there, I'm surprised at that. That thing's, well, it's a GTR, it's 4-wheel drive. It should be incredibly quick. Pole position, we get 10 grand there, so yeah, definitely we're going to keep grinding this one out. You may end up seeing the normal car championship quite a bit, and the Dodge Viper will probably be incredibly tired by the time we get through this this playthrough of the game. But yeah, pretty sure there's 5 events on this one, starting off at Auto Ring Mini, and then moving on. But all being well, we should be able to absolutely roll away with this one. So let's see, bogging down a bit on the start again, just waiting for the power to come in. Getting through the gears. Keep that Toyota behind us. Just a little bit twitchy. Really wanting to kick the rear out, but surprisingly, as sketchy as this car can be, it is quite easy to catch. So again, just get through the gears, let those lot battle it out. So they're dropping back already. 5 laps of this circuit here. So definitely a bit of a longer championship. We might only get maybe 1 or 2 runs of this one in. But pulling out a nice lead here. So I think we're probably going to be able to absolutely storm this championship. And for building up credits, if I can get 2 runs of this in tonight, it's going to put us in a very good position for the next stream. So the only time I will be playing Gran Turismo 1 now, obviously this being a fresh playthrough, will be on stream. So again, if you want to keep up to date with all the Gran Turismo classic playthroughs, then be sure to keep joining in every stream just to see how we're getting on progress wise. So, like I said, I'm probably going to do... Oh, remember to change gear there. I'm going to play through all the Gran Turismo 1. We're going to beat that together. And then when it comes to Gran Turismo 2, I'm definitely tempted to do a vanilla playthrough. Maybe using the PAL version. And then go through a modded version with A-Spec. Because again, it's kind of like a completely different game. The amount of stuff they've added in, and the guys that have been working on A-Spec have done such a good job on that. It's just incredible. The mod support for Gran Turismo 2 and GT4 is just insane. Gran Turismo 1 though, not really anything going for this game. I think there's a bit for Gran Turismo 3 as well. I think there's I don't know if it's already out or if it's still in development. There was a mod for that. That was definitely in the works, but I've not really kept up to date on Gran Turismo 3. It's not my favourite. I know a lot of people will probably say, well, that's blasphemy, but GT3 for me never hit the same kind of level. For me, it was more of a tech demo. It was very graphically impressive. I feel it was a little bit like the Gran Turismo 7 of the older generations. And then obviously Gran Turismo 4 came along and just felt like the complete version of what Gran Turismo 3 could have been. So there we go, 3 minutes, 2 seconds, and we are done there with a very healthy lead, taking away 9 points. So we had the TRD, that was in second, Impreza, RX-7, Lancer and R33, so no position changes during that race either. I'm going to get some bonus credits. See, 50 grand for first place there. That is why this is probably the best one to grind out in terms of credits, because it is so winnable with the Viper. It's almost unbeatable. But I've probably said that, and now we're probably going to absolutely fall flat on our face. Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible kind of tech demo. The replays, and I remember the heat haze as well on the track on a PlayStation 2 in 2001 was just incredible. Like, even today, Gran Turismo 3 looks insanely good, but definitely it was just lacking in terms of the car. So it felt a lot more repetitive than the others. And then, obviously, like I said, Gran Turismo 4 came along and just was kind of the complete package. In fact, the thing that does make me laugh about Gran Turismo 4 is that obviously a lot of those models were carried over into Gran Turismo 5 with the whole kind of standard and premium car thing, which is kind of why Gran Turismo 5 and 6 had such huge car, lineups, because a lot of those models were Gran Turismo 4 models. It definitely wouldn't work these days. Obviously, Gran Turismo 7's... Oh, we've gone wide there. Gran Turismo 7's car list is building up. I think it'll be a while until we see a car list anywhere near that big, and I don't even think we'll probably even see that these days. Even with whatever the next Gran Turismo is, whether that's Gran Turismo 8 or whatever, I think we'll see pretty much the entire roster of cars from GT7 ported over, and maybe a few new ones, and then again they'll just kind of build up on that. And I think because they can't really, just port over cars, and this whole standard premium model thing, it just makes building up that car list a lot more difficult than what it used to be. Yeah, bring back respec. Fully agree. There was that tech demo with B-Spec at the World Series, so it could possibly still be a thing. And especially, I think with Sophie AI, if they can get that implemented, get the whole B-Spec kind of tech demo-y thing we saw at the World Series running with Sophie AI, then there's no reason why B-Spec can't return. Whether that's in Gran Turismo 7 or 8, I think more than likely it'd be in the next title. And I think that's my hope for that one, is to put Sophie AI in its full capacity, so not just limited to its separate thing, because I feel like that would be a huge waste of potential to be hyping up the Sophie AI to never have it running properly in career mode. Remove the emojis, just have them in there as the sole AI of the next Gran Turismo title, because with a good career mode behind it, move away from the cafe menus and go back to the old system, even like we saw with GT Sport, where, yeah, alright, it's just a checklist of events, but, it's what worked for the other games. I think that with, a normal mode with Sophie AI and then B-Spec with the Sophie AI, it would be the potential there to get Gran Turismo back to what it was, kind of what it's known for in a single player sense, would be insane. Like, they could do so much with that. It's just getting it all into one package. And as much as, you know, at the end of the day, I do complain about GT7 a lot, it does have, apart from obviously the events being lackluster and that, the fact that, you know, PSVR 2 is running in that as well. If they can bring that over to the next Gran Turismo game, you know, day one, have the Sophie AI running and stuff like that, again, the potential to get Gran Turismo back on form is immeasurable. Used to do 24-hour races. Yeah, I mean, the only 24-hour races I ever do when it comes to Gran Turismo is the ones that I'm kind of told to do. I couldn't... I mean, I could probably sit there for 24 hours doing a custom race, but it's just, I don't know, the custom race feature is so up and down. You can put boost on to kind of make the AI behave a bit more realistically, but if you don't, and even if you're all in the same cars or you're trying to do multi-class, you'll find that some of the AI will just drop off so much, and then all of a sudden they'll be doing an entire lap at like 200 miles per hour. It's just it's a strange one. I mean, I have been tempted to do an entire 24-hour race like that, but I just don't know how entertaining it would be over a 24-hour period, especially if I was to do it straight. I mean, live service, I don't think it necessarily did. I mean, if you're talking about the always online thing, and then in a sense, yeah, but with it being a live service game, it's nothing new. Every game's live service these days. You kind of expect it. And if it wasn't live service and Gran Turismo 7 was just kind of released as it was on launch and then left, it'd have just, I don't know, it'd have been even worse. I mean, GT7 at launch, even compared to now, is night and day. And obviously we all know we all know what GT7 is kind of like now. So I feel like if it didn't have that live service behind it and we were just left with the original product, yeah, it'd have been probably going down as the worst Gran Turismo in history. I think the one thing that ruined it was, or really kind of affected it, was the whole microtransaction thing. There was no need for that. I mean, yes, they were in GT Sport, but they made sense. You was paying a specific amount, no more than like £5 for even the most expensive cars in game. Like if you really wanted them, like I believe it's the Jaguar Le Mans car, the classic one. I mean, that was like £5 to buy as a microtransaction in GT Sport. But yet, if you bought the credits through Gran Turismo 7 to be able to afford that 20 million car or whatever, it'd be like something like £180, maybe even more, which is ridiculous for one car. I think the economy of that game doesn't help because there's not many ways to earn credits and everything is just so up and down expensive. Like inflation hit Gran Turismo pretty hard with GT7. But in a sense, they've all kind of been like that. There's been limited ways to make money in pretty much every Gran Turismo title. But I do think if they're going to do the whole live service thing, then, you know, endurance events, more events that are worth your time, just do it. That's the one thing for me that GT7 is lacking, is it doesn't have that typical Gran Turismo career mode. So if you're going to add a bunch of events, do more than just, you know, 3 to 5 laps. Do I have a wheel? I have two. I have a T300 RS and a G29 somewhere. But obviously I'm not playing Gran Turismo 1 on a wheel. I'm playing on a DualSense. I should really go and get a new wheel, but yeah. Which do I use more? The T300. I have that pretty much set up all the time. So if I'm going to use any, it's the T300. But the G29 was kind of like my beginner wheel, and I just got attached to it and don't want to get rid. The whole reason, funnily enough, that I ended up with the T300 was when I first started doing YouTube, I was using my G29. I was league racing, and I believe it was the gear change went on it during one of my league races, and one of the guys said, "Oh, I've got a spare wheel somewhere. If you want it, just pay postage and I'll ship it." So I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." So that's how I ended up with the T300, and then since then I've just never really felt the need, for a wheel. I was looking at the Logitech Pro, but then I was kind of looking at the prices and thinking, with honestly how much time I actually get to sit down and play properly when I'm not making content. Like, a lot of my time playing Gran Turismo is recording for content or editing it and such. So really, I can't really fathom that much when a lot of my time is just spent in front of a PC screen editing. So yeah, I'm not a massive Fanatec fan. I'll be totally honest there. I've just heard so many horror stories over the years. I mean, I don't doubt that the products are good. I mean, I've tried a few over the years, like of other people's and such, but you just hear so many horror stories. And also, I mean, these days you've got a lot of other companies that are up and coming and, kind of getting into that market. I think even, obviously there's a Logitech Pro. That was the one that appealed to me the most. And then I believe Thrustmaster have just released one as well. And then you've got, a lot of other companies that have started doing them, mainly for PC and such. Yeah, I mean, most people I know go down the Fanatec route. I mean, I was very close to purchasing one. I want to say about a year ago, and then I think it was at the time where there was a lot of back orders and stuff like that, and things weren't getting delivered and such. That it really put me off. Like, I was almost at the checkout, ready to press purchase, and then I kind of just backed out, thinking, what happens if this, that, and the other happens? That I just kind of talked myself out of it at the last minute, and that's when I started looking more into the Logitech. But again, they're not cheap things. And I mean, the way I see it, I have to think about kind of the time I'm going to spend with it. Is it going to be kind of, for the price I'm putting, the price I'm paying for something? Am I going to get my time out of it? The main time I was kind of looking into the likes of Fanatec and stuff was when I was doing a lot of iRacing at the time. I used to do a lot of that, what feels like forever ago now, and that's why I was really contemplating it. But then I kind of just got busy with other things and then didn't play as much iRacing, so I think that's probably where I would have had most of my use out of it. You really want to play all these again? I fully recommend it. If you've got a PlayStation 1 lying around, just get the dust off it, hook it up and go and play. Or if you've got a PC, it doesn't take much to run these games, obviously. So you don't need the strongest PC. See, I always forget these right-handers because that one's quite not too bad, and then you've got this one here that just goes on forever, and I get them mixed up. Wheel in PSVR 2 best experience. Yeah, I mean, I've got the adapter for VR for PC, and honestly, it's incredible. Yeah, GT1's handling's definitely one of those weird things. I mean, one thing that definitely did improve, especially with Gran Turismo 2, was the handling in general. It was a lot more predictable. Yeah, it still had the same kind of annoying, skiddy feeling to it, but it was a lot better, as you can see. So we're going to round the final few corners, and that's going to be another very easy win. So the credits are definitely building up now. Ooh, kicking out there on that bump. So we go, another win. Dodge Viper coming in very handy. Tokyo Extreme Zero. Yes, I love that game. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking, you know, once I've done all the live streams of the classic GTs, yeah, it's probably going to take me probably way over a year by the time we've done them all. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking, yeah, Tokyo Extreme Racer, great series, love that. You know, likes Road Trip Adventure and stuff. There's a lot of games from the kind of the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era that probably didn't get the love they deserved. So I've got quite a few in the pipeline that I'd definitely, you know, like to stream. I mean, for me, seeing Tokyo Extreme Racer return like this year in that early access is just incredible. Like, they've done such a good job on that game as well. It's just basically an updated version of, you know, the older titles, which is nice to see. You know, they didn't try anything too fancy or anything like that. They just said, right, we're going to stick to what we know and bring more of the same, but many years later, obviously much better looking and stuff. So yeah, Tokyo Extreme Racer, great series. There was another one as well, another racing game that I used to play a lot back in the kind of PlayStation 2 era. And I think in America it was called Test Drive Eve of Destruction. And in the UK it was called Driven to Destruction. And it was a little bit like the Destruction Derby series, but whole kind of free roam thing. And you could drive to, like, you know, bars and stuff and challenge racers. And then you'd challenge someone on the way to a derby race and stuff like that. That was such a good game. And again, I feel like it's another one of those kind of hidden gems from the PS2 era that time just forgot. So that's another one that's kind of on the list. And obviously, like I just mentioned, Destruction Derby as well. Those were other titles, especially in the PlayStation 1 day. Destruction Derby Raw was one that I played a lot alongside the likes of Gran Turismo 1 and Gran Turismo 2. Yeah, that. Yeah. So there we go. Another first place, another 10k on top. So almost at 200k there. Infuse It, yes, that was another one. Is that the one? I don't think it was that one. There was a racing game on the PlayStation 2 that I remember, and I think it must have released around about 2005 or 2006. It was kind of late in the console's life cycle, and I'm pretty sure it was one of the old tour. I think it was. I want to say Gabriele Tarquini. It was one of the old touring car drivers that was kind of like the face of the game, and the AI had behaviour and stuff, and you could put pressure on them, and they kind of spin out if you was, you know, putting pressure on them and such like that. Vice versa, it affected how you drove. I can't remember if that was Infuser or it was another one, but I think that's another one that kind of got its title changed depending on where you were in the world. I know obviously for me in the UK and the EU, there was one of the touring car drivers that was kind of the face of the game, and he'd take you through the tutorial. But I'm pretty sure that was another one that was kind of like later in the PlayStation 2's life cycle. But it was a really good looking game, and it played incredibly well. I really need to figure out the name of it. But that's another one that I'm definitely wanting to look into for kind of live streaming in the future. Ooh, really upset the balance of the car there. R Racing, yep. Yeah, that was the kind of spin-off. I'm pretty sure it had the same woman in there, if I remember rightly. Like, I always forget her name, but she was kind of like the face of Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer, another great series. I wish that would make a comeback. I feel like one thing we're lacking in today's racing genre is arcade races. Like, everything's gone down the realism route, and it just gets a little bit dull after a while. Like, there's only so many simulators you can have, you know. That's why I always appreciate these kind of, a lot of indie racing games go down the route of doing things different. There's that Motor Town or something like that. I can't remember, but I've got it on Steam, and that's incredibly popular at the minute. That's an indie racing driving game, job game. It's another brilliant one. Yeah, it's just a shame. I mean, a lot of the really good racing games in recent years never end up on console as well, which I think it's a shame, really, because I feel like when it comes to console races, you're stuck with either ports of simulators that are on PC, like ACC. It's much better on console than it was when it was just on PlayStation 4. But again, it's just a ported version. And then obviously, you've got Gran Turismo 7, which didn't live up to its potential. Yeah, there's a nice shortcut there. There's a real lack of console racing games these days, or really ones that stand out. You've got your yearly releases, F1, MotoGP, and stuff like that, but I feel like console racing games are just kind of not as prevalent as they once were. I feel like kind of the late 90s, early 2000s, there was pretty much every different type of racing game. Burnout 3. Yep, another series that really needs a revival. Obviously, we got the Paradise remastered in 2018 for the PlayStation 4, and the kind of that generation, which was just incredible. And I cannot believe that after the success of that remaster, EA or whatever didn't kind of build upon that and go for a brand new Burnout game. There's a lot of kind of the big racing names from yesteryear that really need rebooting. I mean, if they want any pointers, they can always approach me and ask me. Yeah, I played a lot of Burnout 3 Takedown when that came out, and 2005 as well with Burnout Revenge. That was for me, kind of took everything that was amazing from Burnout 3 and then improved it. And I believe with that title as well, I can't remember what they added in, but there was something that it just absolutely blew my mind. Burnout Revenge. That was a great title. Paradise was obviously the first open world one. So yeah, I mean, again, these are series that were like really critically and commercially successful, and yet they don't take advantage of that. Yeah, Motorstorm again, that was another good one. Obviously they moved on to Drive Club, and then they're all gone now. I believe they got absorbed by Codemasters and kind of all that lot. They're probably part of EA now, so. So finishing up our last lap here at Deep Forest. Another very, very easy win. A lot more relaxed now than what we saw with the lightweight and the FF championships. They were a lot more difficult. And I still don't understand why every single time we've raced at Deep Forest we've been in reverse, which is quite odd. I don't think we've actually done a single race the normal way around. That is going off. Yep, there we go. Nice little sideways there. You don't understand why they changed up the qualifying. I think it's because they just change up the way the events are. Again, they're all kind of rolling starts. I don't think we even have and even if we do, I think it's probably only a couple kind of well, I guess grid start events. I don't think there's really any in GT7. They're probably, I think the Clubman Cup Plus, I think they might have a grid start on one of them. Tsukuba. I can't quite remember. But they won't put it in if there's, nothing for them to really put it in for, since they're all kind of just chased down this, that and the other. Yeah, I used to love PGR. PGR4 for me. I really enjoyed that game, especially split screen and online. But I used to always play with my friends and that on split screen with PGR4 on the St. Petersburg track, or was it Moscow? It was one that was in Russia. It was such a cool technical track. You kind of went from the riverside and then sort of into the city a bit more and then back out. It was really, really cool. I definitely think the PGR series should make a comeback, but obviously those developers are gone. Again, Blur as well, the game that they made, that was an incredible game. I honestly wish someone made a game like that, especially for like people on consoles and such, where at least in the next few years, where it's kind of official car models. But nice little bounce off there. But with obviously like kind of the whole power-ups and such like that. I mean, Blur was a great game. Split Second as well. That was a really cool idea. There's a lot of unique racing games that, unfortunately, we'll probably never see anything like it again. And even if we do, it'll probably either be on PC or it'll just fall under the radar. I don't think these games really get the publicity that they should. Okay, the car definitely doesn't like this track, and I don't either. So into the double left-hander here, and then into the 180 degrees right down the hill, and then we'll come towards the end of the lap. Yeah, it is frustrating that they just kind of focused on that. See, the thing is, there's a decent amount of events in that game that they could have just mixed it up a bit, even if it was just 75% grid start, some of the whole chasing it down sort of thing. It'd have been a lot better received. still managed to take pole there by a decent amount for such a bad lap. So let's get this one done. I have a feeling this is probably going to be a 5-lap race, which is going to be horrible. Yeah, unfortunately, in the games will just kind of be the only way we're going to sort of see these things again. I feel like developers do play it far too safe these days. They either play it far too safe, or they bring it back and then completely ruin it in one way or another. And then that just kind of puts the other developers off of remaking these kind of things. I mean, there's one series that isn't racing related that I am so surprised never ever had another game, and that is Time Splitters. They were amazing FPS games, so funny. Obviously made by Free Radical, which I believe they're long gone. But there's been rumours for years. I know there's kind of a whole community behind it, I believe doing a remaster or something. But like, officially there's never been a sequel. We've had the PlayStation kind of ports of it at the end of last year, and then they added trophy support and such. But I feel like that would be a game that would just sell like hotcakes. It's again another one that I think it was EA released the last one, so they more than likely have all the rights to it, and I just don't think they'd do it. So we have 5 long laps of this track. See, one thing I would have absolutely loved, I get the whole personality behind these special stages, or the routes, or whatever, is the fact that they're at night, and I think it looks incredible. But I'd have loved to have seen like alternate day versions of these tracks, just to kind of see what it's like during the day. There's probably mods out there for it, but I think that would have been incredibly cool. Yeah, the Tomb Raider remakes were actually really good. The one remake I was really hoping would have been amazing was the Star Wars Battlefront remakes. They obviously did the classics at the beginning of last year, but that was just so disappointing. I was really looking forward to that online, and it was just a mess. And it basically just killed that game off within a week. It was a huge shame. And even when they got it right, there was just no players on it, so it was a missed opportunity there. But this Viper feels so sketchy around here. Every single bump in the road just upsets it. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. We finally spun the Viper, and we are still spinning now. There we go, get it the right way. Long gear ratio. Eventually get ourselves going. Yeah, Route 5 for me will always be the best. You know, special stage Route 5. That was such a good track. I really want that one back, but yeah, Route 11 for me, not my cup of tea. It's a weird one. It's got some really cool parts. Like the end of the track is pretty great, but the beginning is just it's just kind of maze-like. I'm not a huge fan of it. I never was. I just felt like they just wanted to make a really long version of Route 5, and this is what they came up with. It'd be a weird one if I had to rank all the tracks from Gran Turismo 1. I mean, there's 11 of them. So, there's what? High Speed Ring, Test Track, Autumn Ring Mini, Autumn Ring. Autumn Ring for me would definitely be right up there. Really good track. Love that one. Grand Valley, I mean, it's a classic. High Speed Ring again, it's a classic. Trial Mountain, awesome layout. Deep Forest, I love it, but I would say for me it's weaker than the likes of High Speed Ring. Trial Mountain for me is better than it. Yeah, Seattle was great. Midfield will always be my favourite. Obviously, when that came with Gran Turismo 2, I spent a lot of time there. Seattle would be an incredible track, but from what I can gather, Polyphony have said it'll never ever happen or ever return because they can't recreate it. I'm not sure if Polyphony actually go and laser scan tracks or anything like that, or places, so I know they send people out there to, you know, photograph locations and such, but from what I heard, it was the actual layout of the Seattle circuit has completely changed so that it just wouldn't be the same track anymore. But the jumps at Seattle were always great, and the AI used to always get stuck at the top. When you come off the last kind of jump, they'd kind of jump themselves into the wall, spin themselves out, and then just go backwards and forwards constantly. It was quite funny to see. So we are currently lap 3 out of 5. I feel like this is taking an eternity. Yeah, Road to GT7 is back. We will eventually get to Gran Turismo 7 through this series. Obviously we'll go through the classics first. We'll even go through sport, because funnily enough that game has a lot of single player content. And funnily enough, I never really completed that much of it, so there's plenty for me to go and do. That'll be quite fresh. And then we will have obviously GT7. I'll do that on a fresh account, which will be quite nice to see what it's like to, as a new player, to go through GT7 now. I mean, I've done it a few times, and each time it's improved because of the newer stuff that's in the game. But obviously for me, the one that I always remember is my original first ever time playing through Gran Turismo 7 and completing the final menu book, the one with the GT3 cars, or the World Championship or whatever, and then thinking, okay, well that's the tutorial done, and then realising that the Gran Turismo CAF, or Cafe, whatever we're calling it, was the full single player of the game. I have never been so disappointed in my life. That's why I feel like that system needs to go, and they need to go back to what they always did. You know, your special events, your you know, you kind of map through the amateur divisions and stuff like that. So almost there on the final lap. I believe this is also the final race. 5 races in total. Yeah, Apricot Hill's amazing. Love that track. Really good. I think obviously the last time we saw that was what, Gran Turismo 6, and we didn't even see much of it in that game either. They should put the Silverado SS in. You see, the problem is asking for like specific cars. It's just never going to happen. Like, it just isn't. Like, licensing these days is just a minefield, and I can imagine that it's not easy to even obtain the licenses unless you've got a huge company, or, you know, people are going to put the money behind it to actually purchase the licenses. I mean, I look at obviously the car lineups in the classic Gran Turismo games and think, oh, that would be amazing to have that back. But, you know, these are like brands that might not even exist anymore, or it's just such a long forgotten car, and it's like, well, we're probably never going to see that again. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sit there and say that all the car choices for Gran Turismo 7 and that have been perfect, because they've been far from it. But there must be more going on behind the scenes as to why they are not getting these licenses for certain brands or certain cars. I know there's the whole thing about Lotus. You know, they had all the models ready, but then Lotus wanted a stupid amount of money to get the cars licensed in game. I believe that was back in GT Sport. The one thing that does frustrate me is things such as the Nürburgring 24 hour is, I don't know if it still is, but it did have the kind of Gran Turismo branding. All the cars had the banner on it with Gran Turismo, yet there's nothing like that in Gran Turismo 7. And the same with Pikes Peak. Obviously, I believe even now, and since I think 2017, they've been the sole sponsor of the Pikes Peak, and yet it's not there. I get, okay, it's a bit different considering it's a hill climb event, and they probably have to change a few things up. But even if they just did like the missions, like they did with, you know, Goodwood Festival of Speed and stuff back in GT6, just put it in the game. Like, you know, we had like Moon Buggy of special events and NASCAR and, you know, the Red Bull fan car and stuff like that. So why not do the same with Pikes Peak? Even if you can't really make it into a proper event race, you've got the license for it, just put it in. So there we go, that's going to take us over 300,000 credits. Not too bad. I wonder what prize card we're going to get. I've got a feeling it might be the Chaser Racing mod. Over 400k there as well. Not too bad at all. We have a new car, so I'm going to check out the new car and obviously save the game. That's definitely going to be our go-to grinding for this playthrough, because that was very easy to build up the credits. COD stream tomorrow, mate. I know we've got the Impreza sedan. Fair enough. So there we go, we'll save it so we are fully done there. Make sure that we don't lose that progress. And there we go. Well, with that, I am going to call it a night. I'm going to try and get the second part of this stream going on either Monday or Tuesday. So if you do want to continue going through this series with me for all of the classic Gran Turismos, I will continue from there. Big thank you to all of you guys that have obviously watched the stream. It's been nice interacting with you guys, but I will see you soon.